Whoa, 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 whoa. Why y'all so happy?
You don't know? Charvette Mitchell is on the radio.
It's time to get motivated, excited, and influenced. Why? It's the Charvette Mitchell Radio Show, live from Richmond, Virginia. And now, here to motivate, excite, and influence you, Charvette Mitchell.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Charvette Mitchell Radio Show, broadcasting from the capital city of Richmond, Virginia, but heard all across the world wide web. So listen, we are super excited to have you joining in with us today. Listen, backed by popular demand, one of our most popular segments is back here on the Charvette Mitchell Radio Show, The Men Confess. Listeners, you are very familiar with it. You wanted it, and now it's back. This is a lively, interactive panel discussion with some gentlemen, listen, who do not mind sharing their perspective and their opinions about relationships. So, ladies, if you have questions, they do have answers. So I'm excited. Let's go ahead and jump right on in because, listen, my co-host is here with me, Vincent Ellis White. What's going on, dude?
Nothing much. Very excited, very glad to be back. Involved with Men Confess, definitely with my co-host Charvette. I'm ready to bring this segment back to where it was a few years ago and even better. So I'm super excited.
Yes, and listen, I mean, you are an author, you are a playwright, you're a speaker, but you don't mind talking about relationships either.
No, I don't mind being transparent. That's the best way we can get answers out there, and hopefully we can have the men and women understand each other more, but we got to all be transparent first, so that's what I try to do every time I speak about it. I ain't scared.
There you go. And so let's bring in over to the right on the virtual couch, over to the right, we have Lewis Johnson Jr. joining us. What's going on, Lewis?
Hey, everybody. How's it going? I am so excited to be back with you all. Feels like a family reunion, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, my goodness. And you are a marketing consultant, artist, and you got something new up your sleeves, Henry Lewis Clothing Line. We're going to hear about that later.
We're going to hear about that later.
I love it. Listen, listeners, let me tell you, the phone lines are open, so if you're brave enough and you want to call in, that's fine. And I'm testing out a new chat room today, so y'all let me know how you like it. So if you're on Twitter or you're on Facebook, I have tweeted and posted the chat room link, so if you want to ask a question in there, go ahead and do that. But we're going to move right on in. I do want to say we do have coming up later after our Men Confess segment, we have Professor Devin Robinson that's going to be joining us. Just for a quick event spotlight, he's a business and economics professor. He appeared on the Black Hair documentary that was done. You all know about that, TV One and all that good stuff. And he appeared because him and his Beauty Supply Institute have opened 70 black-owned business supply stores that have generated over $13 million in revenue. And he has a training and school session that's coming to Richmond that you're going to hear about. So I think that's pretty cool. All right, so let's jump right on in. And I think we've got people coming in on the phone lines and coming in from Twitter. I think our other guest, Duran, is hanging out in the virtual green room. Let me see if that is him. Let's bring him on in. If it is him, Duran, is that you hanging out there with us? All right, no problem. Thank you for listening. We're gonna keep it moving. All right, so Vincent, we're just gonna jump right in. Valentine's is right around the corner.
Yeah.
So you know what that means. So really, what do guys really think about Valentine's Day?
I don't know, because I can't speak for all guys on this one. Like, I try to speak generally, but on this one, Valentine's Day is a big day for me in the sense of being a guy and knowing the importance of it with, in a woman's heart. I have always tried to treat it special for the women. Even when I was wasn't doing the right thing in regards to having more than one woman, I always tried to make it special for somebody. So I think that guys recognize the importance of it. Do they adhere to that? That's not always the case, but Valentine's Day is important to us in the sense of knowing the worth of it for a woman. But in regards to it actually being important to us, like we're hoping we get this special gift and stuff like that, I don't think it's that big of a deal. But I know we know not to let it pass without doing anything for a woman. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah, so you don't get that side eye. Lewis,
yeah,
what do you? How do you think guys really view Valentine's Day?
I think Valentine's Day is just another opportunity to show someone that you really care about them. But on the flip side of that, we have the flip side to everything. If you are treating your lady the way she's supposed to be treated, gentlemen, you got 364 days to do that. You don't have to do that on Valentine's Day. However, most women who, they would like to say, he got me this, we went here, we did that. On Valentine's Day, it's just another opportunity to show someone that you care. So I'm not opposed to Valentine's Day, but if you're doing your job 364 days of the year outside of Valentine's Day, then maybe much is not as expected on Valentine's Day. If you're sending just because flowers or just because gifts or you're going on trips, then that minimizes Valentine's Day. But it is an opportunity to show someone you care, so I'm not opposed to it.
All right. And so for the guy that's doing all of that other stuff the rest of the year, can he have a golden pass for Valentine's Day and just say it's just another day?
I don't think he's ever going to get a pass. Vincent, you can chime in. It's like an anniversary. You don't get a pass off of a wedding anniversary. You don't get a pass off Christmas. You don't get a pass off birthday. You better have something, even if it's small, if it's all that counts. You just better have something to bring it to the table. I'm not sure. Vincent, you want to chime in on that?
Yeah, I pretty much agree. I have ran into people that say that Valentine's Day is not as big a deal for them as it is for everybody else, but they've been far in between. They've been very rare type individuals. So I agree with Lewis. Overall, you're not going to get a pass on that. Even the ones that say I don't want anything or it's not a big deal, if you skip it all together, you'll still be in trouble. Like you can, as long as you do something, as long as you do something on that day. Now that's the thing. You might not. I don't think you have to do something big for every lady. I do think there's a difference there. But if you do nothing, and you're clearly with somebody, and I think you're gonna have an issue. Or well, let me give you a flip side too for a minute. Valentine's Day is also a defining moment for a lot of guys, too. I know for me, this is just me being transparent. There's been times where I was dealing with somebody, but we were just like in that in-between phase, whereas I could get away with saying you're not my girl, so we don't have to do Valentine's Day together. But
wait a minute, pause, pump the
wow.
brakes. So you could get away with, like, did you literally say you're not my girl? So
no, you get what I'm saying. I'm saying that the key word is technically. I technically have the right to say that because we're not boyfriend and girlfriend. What I was leading to was that Valentine's Day gets a lot of guys hemmed up because you might go like all year skating by just doing whatever y'all are doing, but when Valentine's Day comes, if you can't spend that day with them, then they realize who they are, or it defines it for you as to who they are.
Okay, so you see where you stand on Valentine's Day.
There you go, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. That's what I was getting up to.
I got you. I hear you. It's a defining
for
moment.
some, that might not be good.
Ooh.
But you see where you stand on Valentine's Day, so
you do. I mean, if you look at Facebook and you see a lot of people have been reposting these. A lot of women have been reposting these things. I've been seeing it make me laugh. They've been saying like, if he can't spend Valentine's Day with you, you are the side chick and stuff like that. People been reposting those like crazy. But that's been the thing. Like if you got 3-4 girls and Valentine's Day comes. You got, as a man, if you that guy doing that, you got to choose that one. And when whoever that one is, them other 2 or 3, they out of luck at that point, unless you can be in 4 places at once. And if they're out of luck, they might have thought they were something different. And they find out.
That's hilarious,
Vincent,
man.
Valentine's Day.
Wait a minute, Vincent. Please clarify. You are not condoning them having 4 or 5 women. We just want to make
3
that
to 4
disclaimer.
women.
Well, no, I mean, I can clarify, but I don't think I have to clarify. I never said that I condoned it or went against it. I was just speaking about it.
Okay, good. Give me straight.
But for the average guy who does not have 3 to 4 women, you better bring something home, or you better deliver something. Something better get delivered to the job. You better have something. That's all I'm saying. Or you gonna get in the doghouse.
And we already said, and we already said that. So I mean, I can definitely reiterate that. But we already said that. You can play the archive back, and you'll see we already that's what I was trying to cover
play
all
the tape
ground.
back. Rewind the tape so we can hear it.
So no, I never said I condone it. Never said I do anything about it. I was just stating that Valentine's Day is the defining moment for whoever you are. I mean, if you're already in a relationship, it's not really defining too much because you're already in there. But if you let that day go past, it might define something new for you. So it's a defining moment.
Okay. That's good. So, all of the marketing and everything that's out in the stores, it's always geared towards the woman. So do men expect a gift? Should we be giving the men gifts?
If I can, personally, from my perspective, I don't look for anything on Valentine's Day. I think that's just an opportunity to show the woman that you really love them and that you care about them. If I receive something, it's going to be a complete surprise. I'm not asking for anything specific on Valentine's Day. I'm not looking for anything because I know that this particular holiday is about the woman, quote unquote. So if she gets me something, great. If not, great. Because this is my opportunity to show her. Because women are by nature receivers anyway, right?
Yeah.
They want to receive something. Men are by nature givers, right? So we by nature are ready to give something. And if you really love the woman, if you really have strong feelings about this woman, and you really care about this woman, you won't have to say, I want this. You are ready to give something to that woman who you really care about them. So as a man, I'm not looking for a gift. I'm not looking for anything. But if she gives me something, then it's a surprise and, welcome, and it's received.
Yeah, I agree. I'm normally not looking for a gift. I'm trying to, give and definitely make that day special and all about her. The only time I've ever looked for a gift is if that's what me and the other individual have already established. Like, for example, we've been together for a few years, and every Valentine's we both give each other something. Then, I can control if I'm looking for something because I've gotten them at the last 3 years, but besides that, I don't normally look for anything. I try to just make that day special for the lady.
All right. Well said. Well said. Listen, listeners, we see you coming in on the phone lines through Twitter, through Facebook, through Charvette.com, through my mobile app. Welcome. You are listening to the Charvette Mitchell Radio Show, a special segment, The Men Confess, here with my co-host, Vincent Ellis White, and our special guest, Lewis Johnson, Jr. All right. All right. So what about the shady Grady guy that breaks up before every major holiday, which Valentine's will be considered a major holiday? What about him?
This is Lewis chiming in. You know what? I think somebody who does that is really, really immature and really cheap and really does not know who he is as a man, because only a little boy will break up with a woman on Friday before Valentine's Day and then call her back on Sunday like, hey, what's going on? No, you can't do that. You have to be there, and you got to step all the way up and bring your A game and show this woman that you care. If you break up with a woman right before Valentine's Day, then guess what? You show her where she stands, period.
Defining moment. See? He just said a defining moment. I love it.
What if he doesn't have any money?
And even if you look at the levels, let's talk about the level of gifts. You can't come up in there with no Slurpee from 7-Eleven on a Valentine's Day. You got to come with something substantial. It might cost you a little bit. And I'm not saying that the cost of the gift per se, but and how much thought that you put into something. And I think women actually gauge that sometimes from a man. That didn't take much thought, or that didn't take much. And actually a woman can actually feel cheap if you bought something that didn't take much effort, so you got to be kind of mindful of that, but to break a woman before Valentine's Day is just horrible. It's immature. It's trifling. Can we just call it what it is? That's what it is. It's just trifling. And that's very low. And he made a good point when he said it can make the woman feel, he said it buying a cheap gift or that low movement as well as buying a cheap gift can make the woman feel cheap. That's a big thing. If you can break up with them on Friday
and get back with them on Sunday. I mean, look at how you just have treated that woman like she has no type of worth. And and as well as if you buy a gift that, I mean, just no thought into it. It sucks that it's gonna make it. It might be associated or tied to their worth, but it is what it is. I mean, some women. I don't think that would be for all women, but some women might feel, cheapened, or might even evaluate things between them differently if they thought they were at some level and the gift came at a different level. Then that might hurt their feelings. On the flip side, I will say this: I don't think that every man has money like that to be able to get something amazing. So I think that men have to be able to get crafty. I've been broke plenty of times around Valentine's Day, but I always made sure.
I agree with that.
For real, and I've always made sure that I would try to scramble to get some funds to know how important it was. If I didn't have them, knowing I still can't let that day pass, because women don't even care if you broke on that day. You better come with something. So I would write a poem, like I would set up the house a nice way. I would do like the cheap yet romantic way to make Valentine's Day still special, and it still got me back to the next day. I was fine, so it still worked.
Once again, it is a thought and your level of creativity that you put into something that really counts. And I think we have to be able to measure it by your thoughtfulness.
I would agree with that, and I think that the defining moment too. A lot of women, like if they're thinking, okay, I'm, the one and only, I'm the significant other, but then the gift I get feels like just a friend. It's kind of like, it's a letdown.
Yeah, it's a letdown. Yeah. Once again, we go back to that defining moment. You see where you stand on Valentine's Day.
Let me tell you something. The defining moment is Valentine's Day, and it's any major holiday. You can't. That's going to define everything. Whatever's going on, that man got to be there on one of them days. If he can't, he better show like a work. I mean, he got to show some type of document or proof why he wasn't there.
Right.
Otherwise, you're in trouble. And no matter who you are, this is a defining moment. You will find out who you are as a woman that's listening to this. You find out who you are on Valentine's Day, because all men know how important it is to you. And if they skip a day like that, it's telling you something, but are you listening?
Ooh. Are you listening? The men confess. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you getting it live. You're getting it hot right here. The men confess. Okay, so, Vincent, I know you have some other questions and thoughts in your mind, too.
Yeah, I do. And this is something I actually just finished talking to someone about. Maybe there was a woman about maybe 10, 15 minutes ago, right before we came on, and we were going back and forth about it. I said, I'm posing on the live on the air. So she said when I was telling her that the Men Confess was back and how popular it was, and then she had just went to an event where men were all on the panel. All these women came out and asked us questions. She said, why don't men seek out answers about women like women do about men? She said she noticed that to the beginning times to now, it's always women going to find all these relationship books that men write. Women go out to these events to see men on the panel. Women call in to shows like the Men Confess to learn about men. But you don't find men going to an all-female panel to learn about females. Men don't call into the Women Confess. Men don't really show that they care too much about learning about women. So that's my question right there. I thought it was a great question because it's kind of true. Why don't men seek out answers about women like women do about men? Louis?
Well, I just want to jump in before Louis, just from another man's perspective, because I have heard a man say his response to that, because I've heard that come up before, that women are the ones looking for relationships. Typically, this was a gentleman's comment, that men are not, they either going to be in a relationship, they have options, or they're not, and they're not looking for it because they can get one whenever they can get in a relationship whenever they want to, so they don't have that interest level there. So that was what another gentleman said. Take it away, Vincent. And Louis.
Louis, you want to go ahead, brother?
That's a very interesting take on things. I think as men, even though we don't know it all, we want to say that we already know what a woman wants. So we don't call into shows. We don't read magazines. We don't look it up on the internet. We don't look at Oprah and Dr. Phil to kind of figure. We want to kind of think that we already know what a woman wants. we tend to feel like we know, even when we're lost and we don't have the directions and we're driving and we have missed a turn 3 or 4 times. We want to act like we know where we're going. And I think that sometimes we need that GPS system inside of a woman, that level of discernment, to kind of help us. And I think that the women are more relational. They're built to be relational. From a child, they're doing the Barbie, and they got the Ken, and they're looking at the wedding dresses, and, it's a big thing for a woman when you talk about relationships. So I think that from a child, a little girl is reared to think about, okay, I want to be married. I want to have kids. I want my house to be this size. I want to have a car. I want to work here. They are better planners than men are when you talk about relationships. And so I think that women have that something inside of them that makes them want to know, that makes them want to talk about it, because it's something that's very, very relevant to a woman. And I think men want to say that we already know, and women want to say that they want to know.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think he hit everything on the head. That's it right there. Men take time for different things, and women take time for. I don't run into too many of my fellow guys that say they're seeking out to learn about a woman via reading a book written by a woman or a woman's panel or something like that. They might think they already know it. Even if they know that they don't know everything about a woman, same desire to learn about them like women do about men. I think it's just something that's on the interior of a woman versus a man. And I hate to say it, it'll always be that way, though. I know there's multiple things, but I know that just women are more inquisitive than men are. But even beyond that, I think that this comes back to the conversation with the young lady I was just talking to. She said that, because we were arguing about this thing. And so I guess I posed that question. And she said, well, it's about confusion. And so I said, yeah, the women are confused about men, so they want to call in again. They want to get the information about men. And she said, no, the men are the ones confusing women. And so we're going back and forth about that. And I said, it's confusion in the air. I do know that. So I don't know if it's the men confusing women or the women are confused. But we were going back and forth about this. I think that's a part of it too. Is the miscommunication, on not being able to understand one another. Because one party can look at it and say, if men stop confusing women, they won't be calling in and going and reading the books and all that as much. But and one thing I said to her as a man, I said, okay, well, what if we've been putting these books out for years? We've been doing panels and radio shows for years. Y'all still don't get it? I like at some point. So I said, at some point, of course she got mad at that, right? I said, at some point you gotta get it. If the information's out there and you're still confused, you can't always keep blaming the person who's putting information out there. At some point you gotta get it. You know what's shocking though? I know y'all think she got mad. She actually said, I see what you're saying. She said, at some point you got to get it. And if you use logic, she was like, I understand what you said, because it ain't like the information ain't out there. It's just,
right.
How are you receiving the information? How are you making it applicable to your scenario? You see what I'm saying?
I got you. I'm glad she didn't get mad and punch you.
We talk about relationships a lot.
No, we're on the phone, Charlotte. We're on the phone.
Oh, okay, so she couldn't punch you. Okay.
She couldn't get to me.
Louis, what were you going to say? Yeah, I thought that was great.
I was just going to make a quick statement that women talk about relationships a lot more than men do. And I think it's a part of the girlfriend chat, the mom chat, the sister chat, the church chat. Women are always plugged into that type of conversation because they're relational beings. And men may not be as much. When we're talking about it, we're just going to talk about it briefly and we're moving on to something else. I mean, we're not going to be talking about relationships with other guys for long periods of time.
Right.
Decide on that. But, it's just, I mean, it's really honestly and truly, be like, man, can't you change the subject? You talk about it as your woman. It's different, and women, that's what they do. And men, that's what we don't do, or we're going to get the side out from our buddies, and that's just how it is.
All right. There you have it. The Men Confess. If you just tuned in, hey, you're listening to the Charvette Mitchell Radio Show. We're broadcasting from the capital city of Richmond, Virginia, with our special segment, backed by popular demand, The Men Confess, featuring my co-host, Vincent Ellis White, and our special panel guest, Louis Johnson Jr. Our Hey, while they're listening, let them know how they can follow y'all on Twitter and Facebook and all that good stuff. Vincent, take it away first.
All right. This is Vincent Ellis White. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at VEWRVA. That's VEWRVA. Facebook, you can look up my name, Vincent Ellis White, or the Vincent Ellis White Show, and you can follow me on there. Let me know if you hate or love what I had to say today. I look forward to hearing from you.
All right. Lewis, your information.
All right, you can reach me on Facebook, Lewis Johnson. You can also reach me on Twitter at Judah_tribe. And, you know, it is what it is. You can also check out a new fashion line release. We're going to talk about that later. But, you know, God is good, and, you know, we're looking to launch that sometime in the next few weeks, and I believe that it's going to be a great opportunity for somebody to plug into the vision of where we're trying to go with the fashion industry.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I have tweeted and tagged in Facebook and Instagram. So if you're following me, that's an easy connection point for all of our guests. And I'm Charvette, and Instagram, I'm Charvette M. All right, guys. So I went on a blog site that was giving out relationship advice. And, of course, you know, I always got to bring y'all some of the advice that people are seeking. And so this site was actually made some statements, and I'm going to say they're true or false statements. So I'm going to read the statement, and I want each of you to say if it's true or if you think it's false, and any commentary you have around that. All right, y'all ready?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so the first one. Men think they hate high-maintenance women, but that's exactly the kind of girl they secretly want. True or false?
False.
False.
All right.
False. I guess I'll speak. You said that they secretly want. I think that's completely false. I don't find too many men that secretly. I don't find too many men that secretly want somebody high maintenance, because you're usually the one doing the maintenance. You know what I mean? So you're not trying to have somebody high maintenance. But I will say, if you had worded that question differently, I would have said true. If you had said a man wants somebody that looks like they're high maintenance, then I'd say that's true, because I know a lot of guys that would want somebody that just look like they're a movie star or something like that, but that's on their own type thing. But if you're the one doing the maintenance, you ain't trying to have that. No, you want somebody laid back and chill.
Well, you know, let's define what high maintenance is. Is she always asking for stuff? Does she want her hair done? Does she want her nails done? Does she want her feet done? Does she want her eyebrows done? Does she want her eyelashes done? You know, we got to take all this into consideration. And if she's an independent woman, she doesn't need the man to pay for anything. But if she's high maintenance, is she really ever happy? And so I think we really need to define what high maintenance means. Is she asking the man to do everything for her, or is she a contentious woman? Is she just never satisfied? Is she never content with herself? Does she have 30 wigs and 40 weaves and so forth and so on? You know, so, you know, let's define what high maintenance is. And there's nothing wrong with any of those things. I want you to get, you know, your makeup done and your hair done and your nails done. But at what point are you happy? And, you know, at what point, you know, are you going to pay for this stuff, or am I required to do it all the time? So we need to define what high maintenance is, and we also need to differentiate between an independent woman and a high maintenance woman, because I think a high maintenance woman is never really satisfied. So if she looks nice, that doesn't necessarily make her high maintenance. That means she's kept herself up.
That's true.
You know, and I think if she's gone through the necessary avenues to keep herself up, then that's great. But when you have somebody who always asking for something in order to keep a certain level of you know, their appearance a certain way, then that can be construed or misconstrued as a high maintenance woman. I think if she wants to be a certain way and she wants to shop, you know, she's looking at catalogs, she's always in the mall, and you know, she's trying to keep her appearance. That's great. I want your appearance to be great, but not at the expense of our relationship. Every day you want something different. You know, that can be a little bit out of hand. I think that's from my perspective. I think we need to define what high maintenance is versus an independent woman versus a high maintenance woman.
Interesting, because the hair, the weave, the eyebrows, the eyelashes, the makeup, the clothes, the shoes, that all comes with some type of maintenance. So
right, yeah, they're getting into houses and cars And jewelry.
There is maintenance to that. Beauty is no mistake. It is very planned. It is very intentional. So there is a level of maintenance. So I think, like Vincent kind of just said, if the statement said men want a woman that looks high maintenance, you want all of the look of that, but you don't want the attitude. It sounds like what you all are saying, and you don't want to fund it.
I mean, you want to do nice things for your girl, but like, it's a difference between me doing something nice for you, like, you know, getting your hair done, or again, taking you to the spa or something like that, every now and then, and me maintaining your entire upkeep, and that's the difference. And so that's why I would choose false, because I don't know any man that want to do that unless, you know, you have millions of dollars, where you and people that have that type of money would just throw it out. But most hardworking men out here not just want to pay for somebody's upkeep all the time. I don't. That's a false statement. But
you know what? Just to add to that, I don't have a problem with contributing to that, because I want you to look nice. I want I want you to wear this outfit. I bought it because I like it. You know, I want you to wear this. I want to be able to keep your hair done. But there's an extreme level that can get to, and I think once you get outside the lines of moderate to low, then you always need something, and you always asking for something, then that, to me, can be defined as somebody who's high maintenance.
All right, the Men Confess. If you just tuned in, hey there, you're checking out the Men Confess segment, a relationship segment here on the Charvette Mitchell Radio Show. We're broadcasting from the capital city of Richmond, Virginia. Okay, so guys, the next true or false statement. Men don't like women who try too hard. True or false?
Try too hard. Yeah, I'm going to go with false. I think it depends on the subject matter that we're discussing, but I mean, if the question is just generally speaking, I'm going to go with false. I think I would choose one that things were kind of effortless it depends on what we're talking about here, but just overall, it's effortless, or just everything is reciprocated properly. But if there's reciprocity involved, it wouldn't be a thing of trying too hard. You know what I mean? So I would go with false with that. But depending on if you define it even more, my answer could switch. But I'm going to go with false right now.
Okay. Louis, your comment. Men don't like women who try too hard.
What that means. Try too hard to do what? Try too hard to get attention?
Right.
What are we saying here? Okay. So
well, the statement is open.
Okay, well, it's open to my interpretation. This is what I feel. If she's trying too hard to get his attention, then, that's I really don't think men like that. And I think we have to bring some other issues into that question. One, you have to look at the ratio of women to men in 2015. And then you have to look at the quality of the men that are out there. And I think that, there is a shortage of men. And so in this day and time, women are more aggressive. And when they see an opportunity, and when they see somebody who might fit the bill of what they're looking for, because everybody's got a type of a person. He might be nice, or might be short, might be tall, whatever. You see that, you're not going to wait for him to say anything. You're going to say something to him first. And I think that because of it seems like there's a role reversal in society today. And so she may not be trying hard to get his attention. She may be just trying to get his attention, period. And if he's not looking in that respect, he may be there to get a job done, and she might feel an attraction. So she might open the door for him to, for conversation, or she might open the door for, a personal relationship. Then that's okay. But I think that when you're trying too hard and you're going through too many stops to get his attention, let him come after you. Let him chase you. And I'm a fan of the traditional method, so, I really don't want, a woman chasing me like that, but I do think women open doors and they plant seeds and they give hints.
Open doors, plant seeds, and give hints, and that's okay. That's good to go.
And that's okay. That's okay.
All right. There you have it. The Man Confess. Vincent, any other additional comment from you?
No, he hit on the head. It depends on what you're talking about specifically. as I said before, so the question was pretty general. That's why I went with false. But you know, he hit a lot of the things. I would agree with everything he said. I would agree with everything that he said regarding, you know, because it depends. Like what we look at as hard now might be just, you know, something simple like the examples he gave, but it is looked at as hard, quote unquote, because of the role reversal that's happening. And that's not an accurate reading, if so. But you might actually have somebody that's really going hard, like old school going hard. And, you know, if that's the case, I don't think too many men like that. But I will say it doesn't mean that men aren't going to accept it. So we're talking about like and accept, and which one? And you say like, then the answer would be false. Now, men are going to accept it. So you got a woman will have to watch that. For example, I'll give you an example. Like if you have a woman that meets a guy in a club and she's like all over him, like, you know, doing everything to him on the dance floor pretty much, and he's able to, you know, take her home and, you know, and do things with her. Well, she tried too hard. He accepted it, okay? So she got her wish and he accepted it. But does he like her? Well, when these guys are not calling her back, or if he's calling her various derogatory names after that, he accepted it, but he didn't like her. You see what I'm saying? So they got to watch the difference in wordplay right there. He's going to accept it all day, but it doesn't mean he like her. And you're talking about what do we like? What do we want to? What do we want to, you know, have in our world, in our circle ongoing? That's a big difference.
Right, and I think to add to that, if you're invading his personal space, and, you know, I don't know you, why are you so close to me? Type situation. And, you know, you done found out when I go to the gym and you there.
Oh, wow.
You done found out when I go to the bank and you at the bank. You know, so I mean, I think, you know, there are extreme levels to, you know, trying to get his attention. And I think, you know, those types of examples are just examples of, okay, you're trying too hard. You know, why I come to the same grocery store, you done found out I go to this grocery store, there you are. You know.
Hashtag stalker. All right, the men. Okay, hashtag stalker. All right, so one of my Twitter friends, Patrick Brunson, love him, Paul Brunson, he's what they call the modern day Hitch. If you've ever seen the movie, he's a matchmaker. He's in D.C. area. You, Lewis, you might know him, or you might see him, Paul Brunson. Anyway, he put out just today this great article, and I was like, I want to bring it up on Men Confess. And his article is the 9 biggest problems with dating today. The 9 biggest problems. So his first thing he says, and I want you all's commentary, we don't know how to define dating. And he was like, if you ask 10 people, you're going to get 10 different answers. How do you all define dating?
Man, let me tell you, that is so true. He hit the nail on the head right there because, oh, my God, man, you cannot define dating. Like, it's so many, the answer will be different from everybody. And I ran into that man recently, and it's when one person might think dating is one thing, and then the other gender might think it's totally different. I mean, so that, and if you can't even define what you're doing, like, how are you going to do it successfully?
Exactly. Listen, Lewis, I'm going to let you jump in, but in his article, he quotes the definition of dating from Wikipedia. So this is what Wikipedia said. Dating is a form of human courtship consisting of social activities done by 2 people with the aim of each assessing the other's suitability as a spouse. Come on, I can't get no help right there. That's it. Wikipedia just preached. I don't know if y'all reckon. Wikipedia just preached.
Wikipedia went in. Wikipedia went in.
That was on point. Wow.
Wikipedia went in. Who's supplying these definitions to them? You know, when we talk about defining dating, it's okay. Are you dating more than one person at one time? I think that dating is getting to know someone. Can you get to know more than one person at a time? There's another question that we can do as a part B to that question. But to answer this question, is there a level of exclusivity involved if I'm dating someone? And I think yes. If I'm dating someone, I'm getting to know that person. We're talking, we're spending time together, we're going to movies, we're going to dinners, we're going out for walks in the park, things like that. I'm getting to know that person. And I think that at a certain point in that, along the milestone and along the way of that timeline of that getting to know someone, it becomes, okay, I'm dating you and only you. This is exclusive. I'm interested in taking this a step further. And I think as men we have to communicate that and let a woman know that I want to be with you in a greater level, and you are the only person that I am dealing with in that respect. And I think that you have to respect a woman enough to tell her that. If that statement is not made, then women, you can assume that he's getting to know more than just you. It's not just you. He's getting to know several different people at one time. And so I think when a man is serious about a woman, though, he has enough boldness and authority to say, hey, it's about you, babe. I'm trying to be with you and you only. And I think he makes it very clear. So I think dating is getting to know someone, but I think that with dating, by definition, there is a level of exclusivity that's involved with it sooner or later.
Hey, Louis, I have a question. So, because I think that's a great answer. What about? But I think in your answer, you're kind of stating that the man knows what dating is. So my question to you is, what about the men out there that don't know what dating is? Like their definition of dating doesn't match up with kind of what you just described there. So he may honestly not know to communicate what you just said he needs to communicate to the woman.
On communication. If you all are not having a conversation, it's built on communication, it's built on loyalty, it's built on honesty, it's built on so many things. But if a man is just talking to you for one purpose or two purposes, then after that purpose has been attained, he might let you go. So, we have to define, what he's just dating for that purpose. He's not dating for a future. He's not dating for a wife. He's not dating for a helpmate or a soulmate. He's just dating for whatever his purpose is. And I think as women we have to be mindful of that, because if a man truly wants to be with you, then he'll pull out all the stops to be with you. So, I think that we have to keep in mind the purpose of dating. What is the purpose of dating? Are we trying to date just so we can, get to know several people at one time and sooner or later pick one? Or are we giving some level of exclusivity? And I think once you get to know someone and you've realized the white flags and you've, the way, the pros and cons, within yourself whether you want to take it further with this person or not. And I think once that place has been reached, then you say, hey, I want to date you and only you. There's a level of exclusivity involved. How do you feel about moving forward with our relationship? And I think a woman will respect that and appreciate that.
Well said. Well said. All right, let me pull one more thing from this article. Again, big shout out Paul C. Brunson on Twitter, and I tweeted the article. All right, so another thing that he says that is the biggest problems with dating today. He says dating is too expensive and time consuming. He says in his article the average U.S. date costs about $150. And most Americans are living, 76% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, so they literally cannot afford to date. What do you guys think about that?
I think that there is some merit to that, but I think that $100 is way high, and I think if we go back to being thoughtful, if I'm putting myself in Richmond, okay, y'all familiar with Richmond, we can go to Deep Run Park and go for a walk and have a conversation. After that, we can go to a restaurant that may not be that expensive, but it's still not McDonald's. You feel me? So I think that, there are levels to it. And it all depends on where you are in the dating experience. If this is the first time, you don't have to go to Ruth's Chris. You can go to, Applebee's, Ruby Tuesdays. Go on Groupon and find you some Groupons.
So you gonna really pull out a Groupon?
You go? No, I'm just saying you can do it on the slick. But be creative with it, man. I mean, you're Red Lobster, or something like that. You don't have to spend $100. You can go to a movie. It's gonna be $20. Red Lobster. Get the 2 for $2. That's about and work it. And work the system, man. All
right, Vincent, what you got to add to that?
Man, let me tell you something. I wish a date would cost me $150 and I got to be there on the regular. Ain't no way in the world. Ain't no way in the world. And And look, and this is coming from somebody that I do great dates. I have a ball on dates. Always have a good time on dates. But I'm gonna have a tight face if I got to drop 150 every time we have a date. We ain't gonna have fun. I'm gonna be mad. and that ain't helping nobody out if I'm mad at on the date. So Lewis is right. You got to be creative with dates. And honestly, if you want to give that 150 date, then you can't do it as frequent. I mean, if you want to do that 150 date, then it got to be once every 2 weeks or something. But if you want to take it down to maybe between a $50 and $80 date, then you might can do it more frequently. Then you can do the 150 date. So it's all about, you got to have some mathematic skills, though. You got to know what you're going to do. You know? And but I'll tell you what, I'm not a fool. Now, you see, somebody might hear this and say cheap, but I'm talking about smart. I'm not a fool. I'm not going to break the bank, and I don't have no money to go home to, no extra money in my bank account, can't pay no other bills just to try to impress somebody that don't even know that I'm going to be with. That don't make no sense.
And that's why I said it depends on the level of the relationship. But I'm going to throw this counter question back at y'all. Does the man have to pay for it all the time?
In the beginning, I say yes, but if we've been rolling for a while, I better get something paid for.
And I agree with that. I think initially, from the onset, yes, I'm going to take care of this movie, I'm going to take care of this bill, but we going on a year, I'm going to need you to snatch that bill before I get it.
Yes, sir.
At a certain point, say, babe, I got this one. Women might say boo, but if I've been paying for the last 20, you can do this one.
Yeah,
I'm not going to ask her to, but if she offers and says, "No, babe, I got this one," oh, okay, well, cool. You go ahead. I'm not going to fight with her either.
Nope.
That's good. And I think the average reasonable woman is right in line with that. And more than likely, the average reasonable woman is probably going to offer before you even get to 20. So that would be my guess there. Okay, good. Man, guys, we are out of time. So I definitely want you all to shout out, again, your contact information and all the good, cool stuff you all are working on. My goodness, clothing lines and play productions and all that. So, Lewis, we'll start with you, and Vincent will end up with you.
Yes. So I have a fashion line that's getting ready to be released. It actually has a web presence now, and the website is under construction, but it's hopefully being released in the next week or two. It's www.henry-lewis.com. It is my middle name and first name transposed, and so it's a great opportunity. And, we're going to be offering some clothing there for men and women, and we offer that actually now. We actually have been taking sales before the site's even up, so it's a level of success that we've attained already. So that's going to be released sometime in February, and I just, I'm just excited about it. Once again, it's www.henry-lewis.com, and there's also a Henry Lewis Facebook page there as well. I can be reached on Facebook and Twitter at Judah_Tribe, and I am just elated at what's going to happen, and I think the sky is the limit, and I appreciate you all for this opportunity.
Wonderful. Put your hands together, listeners, for Lewis Johnson Jr. All right, Vincent, what's going on in your world?
I have the book Finding Chris, My Father, is still available, and it's been adapted into a traveling stage play that will be in Richmond, Virginia, at the Trinity Family Life Center on March the 21st at 6 p.m. We have opening acts, we got prizes, we got celebrity guests that are going to be in attendance. So please get your tickets on my website at lifelovereligion.com, or if you follow me on any one of the social media sites, the posts and links are on there. Please get your tickets to come out and support the stage play. All right?
Wonderful, wonderful. Again, big shout out. Thank you, my co-host, Vincent Ellis White. And again, both of our guests, both of our panel, both of our, I'm going to say, resident experts. I have tweeted, I have tagged on Facebook, I have tagged in Instagram. Very easy connection points. Also, contact information is on charvette.com. Just check out my blog article, and if you're on my email list, you also received information. Well, guys, thank you so much. We will be back with another segment of The Men Confess, and we'll just let our listeners know when they can hear you all again.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate it.
Wonderful. All right, listeners, we're going to take a very quick commercial break, and then we're going to be back with my second segment. I'm excited. My guest is hanging out in the virtual green room, so we will grab him from the virtual green room. Professor Devin Robinson. I'm telling you what, he's a business and economics professor, author of 8 self-help books. You have seen him in Ebony Magazine, New York Times newspaper. He was a reoccurring expert on the nationally syndicated Michael Baisden radio show, and let me tell you what, him and his Beauty Supply Institute have opened over 70 black-owned beauty supply stores that have generated over $13 million in revenues for the urban community. And in Richmond, Virginia, he will be soon with a small business academy, and we want you to hear all about it in our special event spotlight. Don't you go anywhere. We'll be right back.
It's the Charvette Mitchell Radio Show. Charvette will be back after this.
Today, my new dad threw a barbecue.
I burnt everything.
Ah! And then we played catch.
I broke Mr. Lewis's window. And then, somehow, my hand. My hand!
And then my dad even let me drive his car.
The hospital's on the right! It was a rough day.
It was a great day.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Virtual book tours is one of the best ways to get your book noticed by potentially thousands of new readers. FAB Virtual Tours staff will walk you through the process of embarking on a virtual tour for your book, business, music, and or ministry, providing simple but yet effective strategies for getting your product and your message in front of thousands. Sign up for a free consultation. www.latboyd.com.
She's here to motivate, excite, and influence you. She's Charvette Mitchell. It's the Charvette Mitchell Radio Show with in-depth interviews from today's leading authors, gospel artists, stars that you want to know about. And now, Charvette Mitchell.
All right. Welcome back again. We're so glad to have you here on the Charvette Mitchell Radio Show. Certainly check me out at charvette.com, twitter.com/Charvette, and facebook.com/Charvette. And listen, we are rolling right on in to our next segment. It's an event spotlight. We want to let you know about some things that are coming to the capital city of Richmond, Virginia. Certainly we on the Charvette Mitchell Radio Show are always offering things for small business owners, aspiring entrepreneurs, and all that good stuff. And so we want to let you know about it. So I'm going to the mic right now to bring my guest up, Professor Devin Robinson, coming up to the mic right about now. Hello, Professor Devin. How are you doing?
Good evening, Charvette. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on your program.
Oh, it's an honor. It's an honor to have you. Certainly, I know you are busy just reading your bio. I got tired reading, so we appreciate your time. You are so
I never heard that one before.
Yes. So listen, let's chat. So certainly, the beginning of the year we're still in. A lot of people have resolutions to start businesses and all that good stuff. In your opinion, what's the number one cause of business failure? Like, why do people fail at it?
The first reason why people fail is because of ignorance. That's the number one reason. People don't know what to do. A lot of people assume it's because of competition or collateral or capital or whatever. But that's not the reason. The reason is because you didn't know what to do when you entered into troubled territory, or how to compete, or how to execute. And that's why people fail most of the time. It's simply because of that, of intelligence, of to do in business.
All right. And then for those that didn't even have the courage to start, what's the main reason that some people never even put their foot in the water to start a business?
I think it's fear. I mean, the first thing is really that's what it boils down to. People fear the unknown. And being in business and being an entrepreneur, it's a transformational experience. If you didn't grow up in a household where both parents were full-time entrepreneurs, or you grew up in an environment where you were surrounded by a lot of entrepreneurs, you really don't understand the culture of entrepreneurship. So when you see someone that's doing something or in business or whatever, you really can't digest or understand why they do what they do. So it's pretty much just the lack of understanding of the unknown, and people just fear stepping out there and getting into the business. That's really what prohibits a lot of people from getting out there. But once they do, a lot of common sense kicks in. A lot of different areas kick in where you can access information and kind of help you navigate through to success.
Wow, and that is so true. Some of the entrepreneurs that I know, their parents were entrepreneurs. So it was like they didn't even consider going another route. Like this was the only route they considered.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's how it works. I mean, the whole, the psychological theory behind babies, why they couldn't walk, even though they keep falling down or they're too weak or too vulnerable in that stage, is because everyone around them is walking. That's the reason why they keep trying to walk. And that's what it really boils down to with entrepreneurship. If you're not seeing that and that's not being reinforced around you all the time, you go with what your environment dictated or conditioned you into being.
Wow, that's good. That's good. And so is there some secret sauce to success in business? Any secret that you could share with us?
Well, I would say, and it really just piggybacks on what I just said, the secret sauce to me is getting in the right environment. Because, like I said, entrepreneur is transformational. I didn't grow up in a household where both parents were entrepreneurs. When I stepped out on business a decade ago, and I've been doing it full-time with a staff, paying people, I hit a lot of bumps and bruises. I made a lot of mistakes. And really what I had to do was surround myself with other entrepreneurs, family members. I had to shuffle them around because there's a difference between relatives and family. And sometimes friends can be closer to you than family. Sometimes colleagues can be closer to you than family. So I had to shuffle around people a little bit and get the right people around me that can reinforce and help me environment and the right conditioning. I think once you have that, and that's really why we're confused as to why people make a lot of mistakes as celebrities and they fall and they go bankrupt and they lose money, but you don't find them in homeless shelters. It's simply because of their environment and the conditioning that they have around them.
Wow. Okay. Wonderful, wonderful. So the Beauty Supply Institute, tell us a little bit about that in your own words.
The Beauty Supply Institute is a training and consulting organization that I started 8 years ago. We've opened over 70 stores thus far. Very, very successful entrepreneurs across the country, in Canada and in the Caribbean. I started it because I was shopping at a Korean-owned store, and I was threatened with a golf club and kicked out of the store for browsing too long. I owned a barbershop and a salon at the time. And that's what happened to me, and it prompted me to just go out and give our community options, and that's when I started my very first store. It was a rough road, and I started to realize that the problems were bigger than what I encountered at that time because people were coming to the store, applauding me for doing it, asking me how I did it, and telling me of similar experiences they would have business in other beauty supply stores. And it just grew from there. I opened 2 other stores within a year and a half, and I decided to write the book on how to open a beauty supply store, and from there it started to evolve into the actual institute that we have now. So we have live training, 6-month training in Atlanta. We have online classes. We do 2 conferences every year. One is in L.A. every winter and one in Atlanta every summer. Next month we're going to be in L.A. for our winter conference on March 28th. So we're really just shuffling predominantly black women into this business so they fit from the capital that they spend, the revenues that are generated. Is a $15 billion industry, 13,000 stores across the country. 96% of the money is spent by African Americans, but only 3% of African Americans own beauty supply stores. Roughly about 400 stores across this country out of the 13,000. So it's a real epidemic, what I call an economic hate crime. So this economic hate crime, you can call me Moses, that's freeing people, Harriet Tubman, that's freeing people. And really that's what the Beauty Supply Institute is all about. Yeah.
Wow. And you were able to sell independently 25,000 copies of that book. So that kudos right there independently to do that. So you're going to be coming to Richmond.
And you know how difficult that can be.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. So tell us, you're coming to Richmond, so tell the listeners what you're preparing, what you have in store for us in Richmond, Virginia.
Our program is called Business 12.0, It's the Small Business Academy. We're going to be in Richmond once a month doing our training for small businesses, not just beauty supply stores, people with that aspiration. It's for individuals wanting to just be entrepreneurs and own businesses overall. You know, there's a difference between making money and building a business. And I always say anyone can make money, but it takes special people to actually build a business that employs people, that generates tax revenues in our community, and we get the respect as community leaders. And that's the program that we've have in place. It's a year long, and we're training individuals how to open their own businesses, and we'll be in Richmond once a month for 4 hours. There's online assessments you got to take, reading materials that you go through, and, of course, our lectures every month. So that's what we'll be doing in Richmond every month starting next month.
Wow. And so how can listeners register, find out more information about it?
Yeah, you can go to urbanbusinessinstitute.com, urbanbusinessinstitute.com, and what you do is you click on the Small Business Academy tab, and you'll see our program schedule. We're across the country. You can also find the Register Now link on the Business Academy tab, and you can register there. And once you register, someone will be in touch with you, and pretty much that's it. Get in touch with you and get you set up in order to encounter the class. In Richmond, we're starting on March 19th next month. So you got some time to check out my background. Google us, see the work that we've been doing. If you're a skeptic, and then you can take your time and go from there. We're genuine, we're official, and I've been at this for quite some time. So we've been bringing out results.
Well, and I got to tell you, one of my connections on Facebook, big shout out to Nikki Manuel Humphreys. She was like, you got to have Professor Devin on the show, and she raved highly about Small Business Academy. So, listeners, she tagged me in a post yesterday. So if you want to talk to somebody who has some experience with this, you say, I want to talk to somebody. Nikki Manuel Humphreys, she won't mind me putting her out there because she tagged me in Facebook. But she was like, she spoke very highly. And so you can find all the information out there, urbanbusinessinstitute.com. Do you have a certain cutoff number for the number of participants?
Our maximum, we have 100 participants. At that point, it gets a little overwhelming in the classes, and that's pretty much it. So they're limited, seats are limited. You really want to get registered as soon as possible. Can I give out the phone number for our office for people
Absolutely.
who may not on the internet? Okay, 770-850-9949, 770-850-9949. For those that want to call, they have a bunch of questions. We do have FAQs on the website, but, for some individuals, they want to talk to a live person. We're here every day from 9:30 to 4:30.
All right, wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for stopping by the show and just sharing a little bit about yourself for us to get to know you a little bit more and giving out that information and also letting Richmond be one of your stops, one of the locations that will be hosting this. So thank you for thinking of Richmond, Virginia.
Absolutely, absolutely. That same Nikki Humphreys is the reason why we're bringing our program to Richmond. So she's definitely a soldier in the trenches. She's one of the lieutenants out there. So if I'm Moses, it's Harriet Tubman.
All right. There you go. It's always good to have partnerships. Would you not agree?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We got to leverage those and make sure that we fill those voids that we see in our community, and that's part of what we believe in.
All right. I would concur with that. Thank you so much again for stopping by the show.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on the program, and it was a pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, listeners, there you go. Oh, awesome show today. As always, check back with us. Any portion of the show that you missed, no problem at all. You know what you can do. You can go to charvette.com for the archives and check it out. Share the link with a friend, and we're going to see you next week with more phenomenal guests and outstanding shows.
Live from
Peace and love.
Virginia, you have been listening to the Charvette Mitchell Radio Show. Connect with her at charvette.com. And until next week, stay motivated, excited, and influenced. The Charvette Mitchell Radio Show. Signing off.